Hey there, my name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. This week on the show, I talked to all four members of the chill bop band Getting By. The band debuted onto the local scene with their 2019 EP and Through It, and have returned with two new singles that feature the creative input of all four members. The band and I talk about their history and the two new singles, Anybody and Happy When. We also have the luxury of premiering the music video for Anybody over on the blog. So if you haven't yet, make sure to go give it a watch. You'll also find a pre-save link for the song in the show notes of this episode. This was a fantastic interview to start off the new year. It's Getting By, and they're right here on the Ear Coffee Podcast. How's it going?
Hi.
It's great.
Yeah.
So good.
It's great. Thank you for having us.
Of course. I'm excited to have you all because I missed you the first time when you guys put out your debut EP, and it's great to have you actually on for the singles you got coming out. So starting off, I like to ask bands this new question, which is, how do you describe Getting By to people when they ask, what kind of music do you make? What's your go-to sentence? Just because I always find the people who make music have an interesting way of trying to pass that buck off as quickly as possible just to move on. So what's y'all's one sentence, two sentence?
I don't know. I feel like
We've had ours prepared for so long, I think.
but I feel like the going thing is kind of
It needs to
antiquated at this point. I don't know. We struggle with that internally, I guess.
We all do. It's an identity
We've been
crisis.
going for chill bop, but I believe we've evolved.
We have evolved.
We're a little less chill.
Yeah.
No, it has been pop punk with a shit ton of reverb for a while. All of our bios say that.
That's still kind of.
But now we need to add another qualifier to it. It's emo, chill, pop, punk, reverb. We just need to add another
Put enough
another
tag.
adjective.
I would say, I don't know, just come to a show and figure it out. But
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
You gotta put enough tags on there so it gets
Yeah.
picked up with the right Bandcamp algorithm.
Right. Yeah. The tags are I don't know. Please. Please, God.
please help.
Please listen.
Yeah.
We should go through, though. I'm assuming most people listening will know who y'all are, but you should introduce yourselves so you can put a name to the voice. So let's start with my left here with Natalie.
Great. I'm Natalie.
And what do you do?
I play drums in Getting By, and every once in a while, I turn to the left and sing into a microphone. Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. I'm Haley. I sing and I play guitar.
And I'm Emily, and I play guitar.
And you also sing sometimes.
I sing sometimes when Haley makes me.
And I'm Aaron, and I play bass, and I scream and also sing sometimes.
That's true. The screaming's new, well, at least on record.
Yeah, it is.
See, and that is why we don't know how to describe ourselves quite yet, because we're evolving.
It's true.
We're going through puberty.
So let's get a little history just individually with music before we jump into the band stuff itself. So do you want to just kind of give a brief overview of just, what got you into music? What kind of connection did you have that made you really want to get into a band and make something as opposed to just consuming it? So I'm going to start, Aaron.
It's what I do. I don't know. It's no. There's gonna be a lot of stupid things said on here. I don't know. It's just been a part of my life forever, and I don't know anything else. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of same. Just was the emo kid at school, and
I think we all were.
I think we all were. I went to McNally for music business. R.I.P. McNally.
Out, yeah.
And then through that I found She-Rock, which is where I met most of these fine folks here, and just kind of since then that's what Getting By has been. Yeah.
Cool. I watched the movie Freaky Friday.
The remake. We need to be specific.
The remake with Lindsay Lohan.
And Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis, the best.
Yeah.
There's an
I
original.
mean, if we're dropping
Yeah.
movies, it's that one and School of Rock.
School of Rock, it's
really
for sure.
1,000. Keep going.
Yeah. So I saw that movie and I was like, ooh, playing guitar might be kind of fun. And then this douchey dude that I had a crush on play guitar and played the riff of Sweet Home Alabama. And I'm like, oh my God, I need to learn how to play that. So I decided to take guitar lessons. A week later, I got it down better than he did, and he quit. And so I'm like, okay, gotta keep
Nice.
going. Gotta keep going.
That's what you get for playing that riff.
Fuck
That's what you get.
So
It was
we get
terrible.
the Leonard Skinner covered set at some point.
No.
For a price.
Yeah. I grew up in a musical home for sure. Both my parents, both my like ancestry on both sides, music. So I just grew up with it, and much in the vein of the Freaky Friday School of Rock train, I feel like kids that grew up in like the early 2000s were really steeped in that culture of like every children's media was like about random child gets discovered and is suddenly a musician and a big pop star, like Hannah Montana, Camp Rock,
Name
School
drop
Rock,
it.
like,
Let's go.
like the Naked Brothers band. Okay, I'm gonna say it. Like it's everywhere, and that was just what I watched growing up as a kid, and I never grew out of that dream, and I'm never going to. So try and stop me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you watch School of Rock and you don't want to start a band, you'll never will.
You have no soul.
Yeah.
Those Disney music movies were just kind of just
The Cheetah Girls.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Just a crutch of Minnesota DIY here.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So then how did Getting By form? Because creeping through social media like I was doing last night, we'll call it research, but it's just me creepy scrolling. It was started as a trio of Haley and Emily with a different drummer. And from there, it kind of formed out to add Aaron and Natalie. So when did Getting By form, and kind of how did that come together?
Yeah. So Haley and I met my first year teaching at She-Rock. And Haley was a seasoned coach. And yeah, I feel like with other She-Rock events, we just kept finding ourselves, like being paired together. We were part of this band for a fundraiser for She-Rock. And that was like the first time we wrote together with some other folks. And after that fundraiser was over, we were just like, well, we really like writing together. Like, so we kind of just like hung out in Haley's apartment and eventually started writing some songs. And yeah, like you said, we had another drummer, Ali Pacala, who is so talented, who we also met through She-Rock. Well, Haley's known forever. Yeah. Do you want to continue?
I don't know. Sure. Yeah. Allie, I don't know. Should we keep talking about Allie?
Let's keep talking about Allie.
Let's keep talking about Allie. I was
Big
in another
shoes to
band
fill.
with her, Cadence and the Wolf, a long time ago. And so we just always kept in touch, as friends and as, musicians, bandmates together. And so we had been looking for a drummer for a long time and just hadn't found any. It's really hard to find a drummer in Minnesota or anywhere, I guess.
Yeah.
But
That isn't in like 3 other bands.
actually,
There it is.
Call out
Yeah.
Sage.
Get the Google Calendar going. When are you on tour next?
yeah. So we felt like really excited that she wanted to drum with us for a while, and it felt really organic the way that she like wanted to be done. She just had like so much else on her plate, and so then we found Natalie also through She-Rock. So many She-Rock connections, and yeah, you were a temporary drummer for a while, and then you were like, guys, can I like audition to be in your band? We're like, what the hell? Yeah, stop
You're like,
that.
you just played a
Well,
show with us. Like you
we
won.
we played like the last Why Not in Minot, North Dakota, and like got done with a set, and then like Natalie was like, "Can I audition?" We're like, "You just fucking did."
Killing it right now. Yeah.
We drove across state lines.
It was
Yeah.
kind of the same for you too, though. Like we had a Kitty Cat Club show together, and you were like, "I really like I
Whoa.
want to be in your band."
Oh,
We're like,
we
"What?"
skipped over chronologically.
We
So,
did.
yeah,
Aaron
we did,
is
we
no
did.
Yeah.
longer
That's
in
okay.
the band.
Yeah. Aaron joined the band when Allie was drumming.
Well, y'all
and-
didn't have a bassist, and
Yeah.
I was like nervous for so long, and finally, just like hit you up on Instagram or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
It was like,
Slid
hey,
into the DM.
I know you don't have a bassist. How about me?
Yeah,
And we
our-
got geeked out about it.
yeah,
so
I
hard.
remember that day like so well. Like, we had met Aaron. Our very first show as a band was at High Watt, the house venue that they run. And we just all thought that they were the coolest person ever. And, you know, one day Haley and I were having a little meeting. We were sitting at Bad Waitress and
Classic.
yep. And eating our eggs Benedict, I think it was like we always get. And yeah, we got that message from Aaron and we just both like looked at each other and we were trying not to geek out. We're like, we're not cool enough for Aaron. So yeah, we were very stoked to have, you know, for Aaron and Natalie to join. So
Yeah.
You mentioned She Rock, and I know a lot of people probably listening will know what She Rock is, but can we get like a quick little just what is it, just for people listening?
She Rock is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We've read the mission statement so many times. It's you want to go, Haley?
Yeah, Haley,
you want to go?
Okay, yeah. So She Rock is a nonprofit. They're really great. They empower youth, basically just non-men, to play music and be in a band and feel inspired by themselves. I don't know. It's been a minute.
That's true though.
Yeah.
That's true. We're a little unseasoned because we usually taught at the Girls Rock and Roll Retreat, which is a summer camp, like a day camp in person, kind of like a School of Rock-esque, without the misogyny, basically. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but I'm going to. And yeah, calling them out.
Jack Black is listening.
Yeah. No, when I say not all men, I'm excluding Jack Black. But we usually teach at the summer camp, and that's how I met Haley and how I met Pecky, and yeah.
Pecky is Emily, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, just kind of stepping back then a little bit because we're a little out of chronological order. You put out your debut EP and Through It in March of 2019. How quickly were you working on those songs as a band? Because was it still the trio at that point?
yeah, it was still the trio. Yeah, like I think we probably started writing like maybe a year before.
Okay.
Because we had written a couple songs before we had a drummer. And so it kind of took us a while to like officially finish the songs because we needed that extra person to help us out.
Emily and I struggled with lyrics so hard, and so Allie came in and was just like, boom, and Allie's such a writer, so like helped us out big time finishing the songs that we had like half finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was
I was just wondering, like, you know, how quickly, because you mentioned you were writing for She Rock, and kind of together prior to that, and that kind of was that what I'm over caffeinated. Is that what led in?
Coffee.
Hi, welcome
So that's
to
what
Ear
led
Coffee.
into forming that, kind of writing that debut EP then?
Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah, like I said, when that project was over for She Rock, yeah, we just kept, you know, we wanted to keep writing together. So I feel like that project was really good practice and like getting to know our writing styles and like getting comfortable with each other. So yeah, so once we were like, okay, we're going to do this officially, I feel like, yeah, we did struggle, but I mean, I feel like we wrote the first song, Selfish Over Helpless, like in one night, pretty much. You know, there was some fine tuning. So it felt like we would write like 2 or 3 songs and then we would get, you know, stuck. And then Allie came in and wrote the lyrics for Breakup and a Half, which are like some of like amazing lyrics. It's probably one of my favorite songs on the first EP. So yeah, Allie really helped us in the beginning, like really get out of that like rut. And so.
Well, cool. And then just one more question about like the older stuff that Getting By has before we move into one of the reasons why we're all sitting here today, which is a remix of your single Pacific Northwest got put out, which was done by, is that Bradley Hale of Now under Sombear?
Sombear, yeah.
So talk to me about that connection, because I was like, last night again, I was creeping and was like, oh, that's really cool, that connection.
Yeah, so one of our, like Haley and I's like earliest, like what we were listening to a lot when we were writing the first few songs was Now's album Saved had come out, and yeah, I feel like that really helped us and like inspired a lot of our writing at the beginning. And the person who mastered our album was Danny O'Brien of Hot Dad Labs, right? Yeah, Hot Dad Labs. And he was a touring musician for Now, and we were just really inspired by him too, because he's such a talented producer and artist overall. And so I guess out of that, we just we had that connection. So we took the time and reached out to Brad and was very surprised when he was like, hell yeah, well, yeah. And he sent us a song in like a day.
It was so
and
fast.
it was so fast, and it was just perfect from the first listen. So it was really awesome to like hear that like other part of the song, you know.
Yeah, that's a really cool connection because it's while you're kind of genre-less to a degree with kind of your sound, it definitely puts a different spin on the pop punky, emo-y, reverby kind of with the electronic elements to it.
One of our last shows we played was with a bunch of like more electronic, like EDM-y type bands, and I feel like they heard that song on Spotify and for some reason reached out to us because that's the only connection to see why we got asked for that show.
We had so much fun.
But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, big genre shows are fun. So
oh
yeah, I don't know.
They
Happy
did the thing
surprise.
where they quick looked up bands, they hit play on the first thing, and they're just like, that's it. You know?
I just the whole night I just couldn't help be like, this is probably why we got it.
yeah,
It's like when we have people reach out to us and like, we liked your last article, like that was written like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Like this isn't relevant. But so then moving into the new stuff you got coming out this month, was this more of a all band collaboration working together then
Totes.
compared
Totes
to
and
just you, Emily, and Haley working on, writing together?
Totally.
Yeah, this was all of us. Pretty much.
How was that experience kind of moving from the duo trio songwriting into including the newest members of Getting By, despite it being at this point like 3 years ago?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a long time coming to get me and Natalie on record, but yeah, I don't know. The writing process, do you guys remember
We've played
key
these
bits
songs
at all?
for so long now.
Yeah.
Like it would be like Haley comes to me with a demo and is like, "Do you like this? I'm anxious about it." And it's like, "Haley, this is the best song I've ever written." And then we'll like listen to it, jam on it, and suddenly we're playing it for like 3 hours at every rehearsal, and it evolves from there.
Well, they made an appearance in the live session we did back in 2020. It's November 2020.
Wow.
So like their songs have been sitting around.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's been
Well, let's get started because the two singles you'll be releasing are Anybody and Happy When. Let's start with talking about Anybody, since that's got the music video that's coming out same time this podcast goes live.
Oh, yeah.
So let's just start out. Talk to me about the song Anybody and writing that song and kind of what you were pouring into it as you were putting that track together.
yeah. I think
Everybody
like
stares at each other. Yeah.
One like wrote the lyrics. It wasn't me.
I
Yeah, it
think
wasn't me.
if I remember correctly, and Haley, you can correct me if I'm wrong, please do.
I remember, yes.
I remember like I think it was like one summer we were at Girls Rock Camp and Haley went on a break and she was trying to, she had showed me like these instrumentals that she wrote and, was showing me how to play them. And then I think that same summer we played the Why Not Fest. And I remember Haley and I were driving together and we started while we were driving through the middle of North Dakota. We were, trying to kill some time and I think that's when we worked on those lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
I remember having the notes pad up and on our phone, working on it.
We definitely would put like one-liners in there, like, "Oh, I've been thinking on this one," or "Oh, I kind of like this one, but I don't know how it's gonna work in, a whole song." And so we just put a bunch of ideas down and then took it home and reformatted. But yeah, I think we had listened to a lot of like Stars Hollow that year. So like the twinkly stuff was definitely, I had a vibe there. But I feel like the lyrics was mostly just us fucking around. And am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
We can say whatever the hell we want.
I saw
the adult
Aaron's
tour?
eyes, and I was like, "It's
Opportunity.
gonna happen."
Oh, if I can throw a reference out, hell yeah.
No rules. It's podcasting.
Yeah.
Do you watch
Cheers.
I Think You Should Leave, Joe?
I haven't.
That's fucked up.
I keep meaning to. I'm stuck on rewatching The Simpsons. So
that's fair.
Simpsons
That's fair.
will always
That's
be
fair.
there.
Yeah.
Hit pause.
that's true. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta.
Yeah.
We actually watched an episode of I Think You Should Leave in the studio with Abe when we got done tracking.
Yeah.
Nice.
We'll dessert as a treat. Yeah.
as a treat.
It's a very quintessential part of this band. Okay, where the hell were we?
Yeah.
You said fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Come back.
Listening to a lot of twinkly music and
Oh,
working
yeah.
on
Yeah.
lyrics in the car.
Writing
driving through.
anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like especially with anybody, I loved like, because I was super depressed, right, as usual.
Classic.
Classic.
We're an emo band.
And so I had this vibe of the song in my head of like, oh, it's gonna be like really fucking heavy and just like like
There was a hand motion there. For those listening.
Sorry.
Miming drums on the audio only podcast.
So when we brought it to the band, and all of a sudden Natalie's like, I'm gonna do a disco beat, and I was like, what the hell? Like that was just the coolest. It just brought a whole new life to the song, and like from there, I felt like it was like truly our like collaboration. Like it felt so nice to have each of our like voices shine through our own instrument for the first time.
And then after a while of playing it, one day at practice, Aaron was like, "Hey, what are they called? Scrams?"
Scrams.
The scrams.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't
like, "Oh
know.
my god, I've been waiting for this day."
It was just heavy enough to where I was like, this kind of needs some angst thrown on it. But also, I remember hearing the instrumentals for the first time, and it was like, oh, what's this like disco-y like ska beat? And like Haley hates ska.
I'm sorry.
But I was like, you're upstroking. What are we doing here? I'm like, all right, I'll play a funky bass line. But then it's not disco or ska. So, but
It's chill bop.
it's chill bop. Yeah.
Yeah, the scrams added so much though. Like I remember the first time you did them, our jaws were like on the floor, just like looking like little giddy children. It was so fun.
It was
Added a
great.
lot.
Yeah, it's really good to be able to write drums with Getting By, because like for me it feels like, you know, being the last member added at this point, like there was so much already in place by the time I was like getting ready to write a drum part, but it felt so seamless at the same time. It was like, oh, okay, I know this vibe. I know how I can put my own spin on it, and I know how to make everyone else love it too, or at least ask them enough to make them love it. And so it feels really organic to just jam together.
Yeah. I agree.
With Anybody, there's a music video for it, which was shot by Chelsea of Hot Dish Creative, right?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
I'm trying to remember all of the names here.
You're doing great.
Thank you. I have it written down. I shouldn't be so. Anyway, so talk to me. Where did the video come from? Who had the idea for it? Where?
Becky.
Becky.
I mean, we always knew that, you know, we had been talking to Chelsea for like, I feel like we started talking before the pandemic about her doing a music video for us. And yeah, so once we finally were like, okay, we have nothing else going on, we can finally record a few songs. And then once we had the songs, I was like, this is the time. And so yeah, so one day, like I just kind of sat down and wrote the treatment for the video. Okay. And then I was so nervous, I like sent it to Haley first, and I was like, okay, tell me if it's dumb before I send it to the rest of the band.
Ridiculous. Like you showed me, there was like 2 pages in a Google Doc, and it was like all mapped out flawlessly. And you're like, is this okay? And I could just like feel your anxiousness in the text.
I was like, I don't want to send it to the rest of the band if it's a really horrible idea. I was very nervous because I'd never done anything like this before. So I'm very glad that everyone loved it. So
it was so cool. I feel like, yeah, you really just did such a great job envisioning this, like a music video. But like, you know what I mean? Like you pictured, like you really got the story down, and it just it was really cool how you brought those ideas.
Well, other than Natalie, that was our first time doing the music video, right?
Yeah.
Haley and Emily. Yeah.
Totally.
So
Wait,
like,
what?
You had done a music
because
you were the only one that had done a music video before.
Solo music video before. Like,
Yeah, but that was also that in my brain doesn't count. But we don't need to talk about
Okay.
my
but
solo music right
even
now.
still, like, you know, playing your song
Yeah.
off a speaker and like playing like
Miming,
along.
yeah.
It was a crazy new experience, and it was really fun. Yeah.
Yeah, because this was the first music video the band has done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about the story as being portrayed on. I mean, the people will be able to. Hopefully, they have seen it before they've listened. But if they're the few people, like the few sickos who've listened to the interview first before going and seeing,
Fucking sick.
before they go and watch the music video, what's the story kind of going on there?
yeah. So I feel like kind of the general theme of some of the newer songs that we've been writing is just like I mean, it's always about past relationships and, you know, all that fun stuff, the emo stuff. Yeah, so I think that yeah, like I think it's just like this constant like going back, like thinking about like a past relationship or past friendship or whatever it may be, of just like it's really easy to just remember like the good stuff and not the bad stuff, and it's taking the, you know, like just continuously like tracing back, like trying to figure out where it went wrong. You know, was it like just one moment one day that like it was never the same and that led to the downfall of it? And so yeah, so I think that's where like the idea of like the string is just like tracing it back, and just the whole video, it's kind of, the point of it was to be a little bit repetitive because it's supposed to mirror like that cycle of just like trying to go back, and what good is that doing you if you're just, you know, trying to retrace something that's long in the past. So
yeah. So then when was the video shot? Was that over the summer or
October.
This fall, yeah.
How was it shooting your first music video then, for those who...
It was surreal. It was awesome. Want to do it again.
It was really, really awesome. And Chelsea is the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Chelsea's awesome.
Fucking professional.
If you're listening and you need a music video, call Chelsea.
Yeah.
Because Chelsea knows what the fuck she's doing.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to work with her, and we love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so nervous, like, about being, like, directed. Like, I don't know what to do with my hands, you know? Like,
You suddenly become very aware of how you are, like, on
Yeah.
stage or when you're performing, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't
I
want to
get
do
really
that.
aware of my eyebrows. like every time I see myself in a music video, I'm like, I look like Jack Nicholson, for fuck's sake.
yeah, that's a good
Okay, so not The Shining.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of, but okay, we don't need to talk about my eyebrows anymore.
The point being is that Chelsea did a really good job directing
Yes.
it. Like, especially when you felt like you didn't really know what to do, she would give you really good encouraging
Dude,
words.
just had a
So-
really good eye. Like, all right, we need this next shot. You need to be here. You need to be here. It was like, all right, you know what's up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, God, I was going to say something too, and I forgot. You go first.
Oh, I just remember like just being so nervous like the week leading up to it. I was just like cycling through all these things in my head. I was just like, oh my God, what if like the storyline isn't gonna make sense, and like to people who haven't like explicitly had it explained to them. You know, I was just like, is it gonna be, you know, received well? And I was like, what if something goes wrong and we can't shoot it? And you know, I wasted all the band members' times, and we had 2 actors and Chelsea's time and all this stuff. And then the day of, like within the first like 20 minutes, I was like, this is awesome. And
Yeah.
I feel like the day just like flew by. Like we
It
were probably
really
there for
did.
like 8 hours, and it felt like an hour.
Yeah.
It was so easy.
Yeah.
Like y'all said, like Chelsea like really, really knows what she's doing, and she knows how to like direct and guide people. So
I do remember it.
There you go.
It was at my house. That's all I was going to say, is that I just felt so excited. We had purchased a house a couple years ago, and
you and Emily.
Emily and I had purchased a house. I'm not trying to get into it too much. It was cool to have a music video shot at like my first house. I'd be like, that's, you know, you can look back on that and like however many years and be like, that's cool, you know? And that, but I do remember the chaos of, you know, classic. I'm so late to everything, right? Like it's surprising that we were on time today, to be honest. It's only because Emily drove. That's literally the only reason. But we were just like shuffling things out of
For
view
people who don't
all
know,
day.
Haley's always late.
I'm always late. Yeah, I'm always late. Tell me about 20 minutes earlier than you want me to be there. But yeah, we were like shuffling all the mess like that we we didn't want in the music video, like out every few seconds, just to make sure that like
your foosball table was blocking the stairs there, so
Yeah.
we couldn't get to the
For, like,
bathroom.
continuity.
Walk over the foosball table or crawl under it or try to like suck in your stomach enough to like stealth mode in between that and the banister.
There's
It was
videos,
very
I
hard
think,
to
of
pee.
almost everyone getting upstairs. So maybe we'll share those.
my knees were bruised.
Yeah.
From crawling so much.
Wouldn't change a thing. It was a great day.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
It's the joy of doing stuff in your own house.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Anytime we have a band performing here for a live session, everything's in the dining room. We got to have people load in through the door.
You make it
Back
work.
door. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Hell yeah.
Well, we got to get creative too with some of the shots. Like there was one part where it's one of the actors is like running down the street, and Chelsea was actually sitting in like the hatchback with like the back up, And was it you driving,
was
Emily?
driving
It was
her,
like
yeah.
Emily was like idling down, and Chelsea's just sitting there with her legs hanging out of the car filming, and
man.
Sequoia is running out of the car.
After the video drops, we have to like post B-roll and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Behind the scenes.
No, we
yeah.
mean our Snapchats.
I haven't had Snapchat in like 5
I'm
years.
sorry, you're old, Aaron.
Yeah, I'm older than 16. I don't have Snapchat anymore.
Working stuff out on the pod, I guess. Moving away from then the music video, you have a second song coming out after Anybody, which is Happy When. So talk to me about that song and kind of putting it together and what that one's about. Because that'll come out, was it same day Anybody hits streaming? Is that kind of?
Yeah.
It's like the B
Yeah.
side, basically.
Yeah. So talk to me about that one.
That's UH money. That's your song.
I was like not making eye contact with anyone in hopes that I wouldn't be
No one
called
calls on you.
Yeah.
We're all like, what is that song about?
I
Yeah.
don't know. I will have to reassess what that song's about. I was just again super depressed. Then I'm like, let's just write some sad lyrics. And it starts off with I can't remember the last time I felt happy without feeling like I had to be. So, that's kind of the vibe of the song.
It is the vibe.
That it just keeps going from there. Again, twinkly, again, reverby. That's one that Emily got to sing on, and that makes my heart so happy.
It sounds gorgeous.
It's so good.
It's towards the end,
Last
but
one.
you have to look for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just kidding. It's the last chorus. Haley already said it. But when you hear it, your nipples will get hard. It's gonna be so good.
That's a guarantee.
Everyone's like,
Okay.
All right.
That's a
that's
new.
a
Yeah.
getting by guarantee. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or
can
your
cut-
money bag.
Cut that out.
Also, I don't know if we
donate
did this yet, but shout out Abe Anderson.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Always
Oh
with
my
Abe.
God.
just
And
a fucking real one. Like, goddamn. Dude's a wizard.
yeah.
so good.
Well, cool. So then, kind of, do you have like thinking of either working with Abe or writing or shooting the music videos? When you kind of talked about some like standout moments already with like just like production day of the music video, do you guys have like a big standout moment from like individually when you were working on these singles, whether it was recording with Abe or working with Chelsea on the music video, or kind of something that like you think of and it brings you joy, or it's something that was always impactful? And what was any of those?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. Anytime I'm in the studio
Mm.
and the red button is right there, like it's just like butterflies. It's like such a happy experience, and especially after like working with Abe, like just hearing what we recorded with no mixing yet. It's just like it's such an amazing thing to do, to just like lay something down and be able to hear it and be like, holy shit. And like with the music video, we saw some clips, like even like
Just
But-
off of Chelsea's camera
just
screen.
off of Chelsea's
yeah.
camera screen, but like even that was just like enough to like be like, oh, I can't wait for the finished product. And like, I don't know. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think the most like I guess memorable moment from all of this was like after band practice one day, Chelsea had emailed us the link to the final video, and we were wrapping up, we were headed out, and yeah, we just kind of all sat around on Aaron's iPad and watched it. And I just remember like once the video ended, it was just like silence for like 2 seconds, and then everyone was like, oh my god, and everyone started crying. It was just like it was perfect, because I don't know, I think part of that for me was like the stress that I had like leading up to the music video of just like not knowing how it would all go. Just like the relief of like, oh my god, it's like
Yeah,
so fucking
it was
sick.
such a
like it's
it was
perfect.
a release. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
just wanting to do a music video for so long and like getting these songs recorded and then just seeing it all come to fruition. It was just like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took mine.
I'm
That's what I was
sorry.
gonna say.
That's why I went so fast. I was like, Aaron's done. I get it.
But yeah, with that, like I also loved the weeks and days after of just like us texting each other, like, hey y'all, I just cried again listening to or watching the music video. Hey y'all, we got the masters back. I'm crying again.
That's a
There's been
very
so many
normal
cry
text in
chats.
group chat. Like, oh, I'm crying again.
Right?
But happy tears.
Happy tears always, yes. So that's definitely one of my favorites. The other, like in the studio, I loved how just supportive Abe was, and just in figuring out like tone stuff. Like that's always something I want to experiment with, but I feel like I'm 28, I'm too old for this shit. I don't know what to do, and that's not true. Don't listen to that. You're never too old, man. So it was just really cool to just go in and be like, I want it to sound like this. And then Abe's like, oh, here, try this rose gold guitar. Try this other guitar. Let's do these two guitars together, and then it'll be even cooler and heavier. And we're going to use these pedals. And like, he was explaining, you know, how it was working and why we're using these things. So I felt really like empowered leaving, and it just felt so comfortable. And you don't get that all the time in the studio. So that felt really just special. And then to hear how it all came together, you can just really hear like his ideas of how he wanted to produce it come to life. It was just awesome.
I'm so sorry, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good.
Oh my God. I also, just to add on one little other thing about recording with Abe, I think if I remember correctly, we set out with just like a set time, and it was just like we had the intention of just recording anybody. And then I think, if I'm remembering correctly, like then we were like, okay, well, Natalie's drum take for anybody like went so fast, and I was on my way there, and Haley was like, we just tracked drums for anybody and Happy One. I was like, what? So I was like, I guess we're recording Happy One today too.
Oh yeah.
It worked out really well. For me, two things really stand out to me about the recording process. The first one being that I got to borrow my fiance Lee's snare drum. And so Lee is a really good drummer and is just like the god of drum tone. Like, I've never heard so many people comment on drum tone at the end of a show before, but when I borrow Lee's gear, suddenly everyone compliments my tone. I was like, okay. And so I got to like...
It's absolutely true.
It's weird. Like seriously, I've never heard like normies who have no idea what they're talking about be like, that snare drum sounds good. But but so Lee knows what she's doing, and she helped me tune up my drums and let me borrow a snare drum. And so like listening to the drums in the recordings and just being like, that sounds fucking great. It's fucking great. So that I really love that. And then the other thing is just freaking crying. I cried all the time. Something about anybody just really hits different. Hits home for me in a lot of ways. And so when we were recording, a lot of the time it would be like we're all in the room together, and like whoever's tracking has like the cans on, and they can hear the rest of the mix, but we're just hearing the room and like the amps. And so it would be like, all right, let's go back and listen. And the headphones would come off and we would hear it all at once, and it was tears.
Yeah.
The waterworks would come immediately. And I, like the first time we watched the music video together, I cried, and I cry all the time at anybody. So I don't know why that's so memorable for me, but it's very touching and cathartic for me to listen to that song.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Kind of wrapping up then, last few questions. This is a bit of a loaded question just because of what's going on right now, but what's kind of coming up for Getting By outside of, you know, the songs, the music video that people should be aware of?
Yeah, given the state of things, that's a very loaded question.
As we've all-
Canceling gigs.
Yeah, canceling all the gigs. We had some sick gigs lined up that we had to cancel. Very bummed, but you know, when we can do them, we'll try and get those gigs back, because I was really stoked for those. But other than that,
in the meantime, you can follow us on Twitter and see what kind of random shit Aaron posts.
every once in a while I get marginally viral on Twitter. You know, by that
Like
I mean
20
like
likes.
30. Yeah,
That's a lot for us, okay?
Yeah.
but it really hypes up my bandmates, so it makes me feel good. Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna keep writing. Follow us on socials.
Okay.
We'll post maybe. I don't know.
Maybe,
yeah.
Outside of Twitter, where else can people find you online?
I mean, you know, we're on Instagram. It's like Getting By MPLS.
Yeah. Our
Twitter,
link tree is
Instagram.
on Instagram, so
Okay.
go
We don't-
there.
We don't use Facebook anymore. Nobody.
does?
I
nobody
don't know who does at this point. The only time I use
Or
Facebook,
Meta or whatever the fuck.
the only time I use Facebook is when I want to make sure my older relatives know what I'm doing. So.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Just a reminder for people listening, the video for Anybody is premiering on Your Coffee blog, so you can head over there and watch that. And plus, everything else should be on streaming service the week following. That's the 26th.
26th.
Yeah, so
Yes.
that means pre-save.
Hit that pre-save.
Pre-save,
We posted about it on Twitter. Find the tweet.
It should be in the description of the music video on YouTube, right?
Yes, it will be. Yes.
Find that pre-save link.
Well, cool. Well, Haley, Aaron, Emily, Natalie, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you
Thanks
very
so
much.
much for having us.
The Ear Coffee Podcast is a companion to the blog of the same name. If you like this episode, please leave us a rate and review so we can stand out among the other music podcasts. can follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @EarCoffee. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.